Hey everybody, you're back in my bedroom. So this video is all about how I got my two fans on top of the Sprinter installed. And this introduction is probably more of a warning about the footage that you're about to see. It is a bit of a mishmash of footage from an iPhone and GoPro, so it's not the most seamless video. Don't expect any fancy editing, any fancy transitions, you're not going to get any of that. I'm not an expert, and everything I learned how to do, I learned through YouTube, so I'm paying it forward. So thank you. Again, not an expert, but so far the fans have been really good. They work, and we've had some pretty heavy rainfall in Melbourne. And after every session, I've gone out and checked it for any leakages, and so far there's none. And it's been a good few months now. If you want to know more about me and the van, then there's another video on this channel that you can have a look at. But yeah, if you have any questions, feel free to ask and I'll try my best to answer it. But enjoy. Ciao. Got a tape measure to measure out how big the hole needs to be. Once I've done that, I'm going to use masking tape to mask over the measurements, I guess. I then have my jigsaw with using the battery pack from the drill. I've got spare blades, and that should be enough to cut the hole in the roof. And then to file it down, I have this file, pen for marking, obviously. Once I've chiseled it, I'm going to use a microfiber cloth to wipe up all the rust. Then I'm going to use this isopropyl alcohol to give it a clean before spraying it with epoxy enamel so that it doesn't rust. Then what I'm going to do is use this putty tape, this double-sided putty tape, to put around it and then put it on top so that hopefully waterproofs it a bit. And then what else am I going to do? Oh, obviously I've got the fans there, so I'll show you them in a little bit more detail. And then finally I've got some Sikaflex and a caulking gun to put it all around and to really waterproof and to put on top of the screws. And then protection wise, I've got some not sunglasses, I've got some safety glasses and a mask as well. I've got a ladder to get me on top of the roof, and that plastic and that tape is so that I can what do I want to do, like tape some plastic underneath there so that when I am filing through it or sawing through it, the filings will just fall onto the plastic and also the metal plate so that it doesn't go all around and potentially create rust. So hopefully that's all the equipment I need. So here's the fan I bought. It's from TRA and I got it off eBay. So the reason why I would decide to go with these ones here off eBay and not the standard, say, Air Max and Fantastic fan is because I have a friend who has one and it didn't work too well, and those fans in Australia cost like $400 and more, and I want two in the van and I just couldn't justify spending $800 on two roof fans. So I found these on eBay. I think like in total they were less than $300, which is so good. I don't know if they work yet because I haven't managed to hook it up, but I really hope they do, because if they do, it's just going to save me so much money and like potential other people who want to build out their vans money, because I feel like everyone right now just uses those two major brands. The other thing is these ones here, the reason why they are a lot cheaper is because they're the manual ones, so you got to twist the control knob to crank the lid up, whereas the more expensive ones come with a remote, and they come with a remote and like a rain sensor detector and stuff, and I just didn't want to get that because I feel like the more features it has or the more gimmicky it is, there's just more complications, and if something goes wrong I'm gonna have to troubleshoot that, and I just don't know how to do that, whereas this seems pretty simple. So fingers crossed that it works, because if it does, it's going to save me so much money and potentially other people who want to explore other brands besides the two major ones. So wish me luck.
So first thing I did was I measured out the size of the fan and made sure that from underneath inside the van it didn't hit anything. I then taped around it and then used my drill and the biggest drill bit I can find to drill pilot holes in the 4 corners. From there, because the hole was big enough to fit my jigsaw blade in, I just went from corner to corner and cut out that square. Because I had the plastic hammock underneath, it meant that the square just fell in and I was able to just broom all of the metal filings inside. I didn't show it here, but I actually, once I've finished that step, I used the epoxy and enamel spray paint and I sprayed all around the top, the sides and the bottom to make sure that it doesn't rust. And that I then waited a few hours before doing this step now that you see, which is applying the waterproof butyl tape. With the tape, the width was quite too wide. So what I did was I folded everything in half. So I measured out the lengths, folded in half so that one length of tape was actually 2 layers. And in the end, I ended up using 3 lengths, so 6 layers altogether. And that was enough to waterproof it as well as lift up the valleys so that the whole thing was even. This step, although easy, was probably the most tedious part, and to be honest, when I was done, I was just so glad it was over. But it's super sticky stuff as well, so really, finicky to play around with. And yeah, just did a dry fit, and then it was all done. Then here, I tried to use a drill bit to drill through so that I can add screws, but the drill bit got stuck in the butyl tape, so I just let it go. And instead, what I did was I used Sikaflex and just Sikaflexed all around it, like a lot. Didn't matter if it looked good or not. I, really Sikaflex that thing down and then Sikaflex the top in where the drill holes were meant to be, and there you go, that's the fan right there from the bottom. And I'm pretty sure I'm going to put a picture of what it looks like from the top as well. There we go. And recently I just test wired them and they work really, really well. So I definitely recommend it for the price and the quality so far. Better than the Max Air fan my mate has. So good savings for everyone. So I hope that's helped you and hope it's giving you confidence that, you don't need a warehouse, you don't need any fancy tools, you don't need 2 people to do it, although maybe 2 people would have been nice. It's totally doable, not as scary as you think. Hope you enjoyed it. Ciao. Oh, and my next video, I think what I'm going to do is upload how I did the floors. So stay tuned. I don't know exactly when that's coming out, so you probably, I don't know, how do you put notifications on these things? You work it out. Bye-bye.